Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering onboarding, getting ready to make the switch. This webinar will cover a make the switch recap, make the switch checklist in the Help Center to make sure you have already done the tasks that you need to do preparing to make the switch, finalizing your account setup, make the switch to-dos for the actual make the switch day, and then post make the switch to-dos, what to do after you make the switch. We will touch a little on QuickBooks Sync and some action items you may want to take after the sync has been turned on. And of course, we will do our live Q&A at the end where you'll be able to get your questions answered live on stream. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. Hi, Christine. We are just getting started here. And Christine, I know you have been here before, so you already know the spiel, so you have not missed a thing. Uh, we'll, we've got this recorded, so you'll be able to watch the recording. And of course, any questions you have, put those in the chat or wait till the Q&A. Okay, let's reshare. There we go. All right, so the first thing I just want to recap what is make the switch when we say make the switch. And a place that you can see this is by clicking on the Getting Started article. In the very top navigation, you will have a red button that says Getting Started. Hover your mouse over that. And then right here, it says Onboarding Getting Started article. This is what I am referencing today. Click on that, and that brings you to the onboarding article. Now, today's session is getting ready to make the switch. So I will assume that you have already been to this. You already know that this article exists. Perhaps you have been watching the videos, reading through this, going to the Help Center, doing your training. But let's just recap that. This article has a great video here that will walk you through the first couple steps that you should take in onboarding. And then down below here is the onboarding terminology and timeline. We are preparing, we are getting ready to make the switch. And make the switch is the date you will stop using your previous software and start using WEX FSM as your main software. And up until this point, you have already signed up to WEX FSM. You've done your initial data load. Most likely that initial data load is finished and you see your customers' invoices and payments from your previous system in your software. And you have already gone to the Help Center to look at your training resources. The Help Center is this little smiley face guy in the bottom right here. And if you click on that and go to tasks, this is the training that walks you through all of the to-dos you would want to do during onboarding. On make the switch day, or actually, let's say this, prior to your make the switch day, which is right now for all of you, you are still entering data into your previous software. You're still using your previous way of operating, and your make the switch day is coming up very soon. On make the switch day, like you're going to go to sleep, go into work the next day, it's make the switch day. You will log in to WEX FSM and you will get a pop-up, which will use our make the switch day confirmation article just to give you a visual of what will happen on make the switch day. So it's make the switch day, you log in and you will get a pop-up that says your make the switch day has arrived. Congratulations on reaching this milestone. You know, are you making the switch or not? So you'll click next step. And this is where you will be able to choose. And let me kind of zoom in a little bit so we can see this better here. There we go. Click next step. And then it will say, please confirm you understand that from now on, you will be managing customers, invoices, and payments directly in WEX FSM. As long as you're ready to go, you will click yes, let's go. If you are not ready, you can click no, I need to reschedule and pick a new make the switch date. Or if you're not sure and you just want some help, you can click I need help. But let's assume that you are prepared, you've done your tasks, your team has the mobile app downloaded, we are ready to make the switch. Click yes, let's go. Now that will allow you to start your supplemental data load, which is the second data load. That is going to load everything from your initial load to the make the switch date. So you have a full system of record from your previous software. And it's going to ask you, what date did you stop entering data into your old software? And technically, that would be today. You entered into your old software yesterday, and today, on Make the Switch Day, you are stopping that. You will now enter into WEX FSM. So put today's date, or the date of your Make the Switch Day, which would be the day you are filling this out. And then it will ask you to submit your data again. Based on where you're submitting this from, it will be slightly different. Like if you only use QuickBooks and you're coming from QuickBooks, that requires a QuickBooks backup file if you're QuickBooks Desktop, and you would submit that. If you are QuickBooks Online, you would submit your QuickBooks login information. So whatever you did for the first initial load is what you would do here. Once you submit that, that will start the supplemental data load, and the data team is able to enter that information into your system. During that time, you will be entering into WEX FSM, and it will not be syncing just yet. So know that, very important. If you create, let's say, an invoice on Make the Switch Day, and then you go and look in your QuickBooks if you're syncing, you won't see that just yet. There will be a few days as we are loading the supplemental data load where everything you're entering will save and be visible and usable in your WEX FSM system. It just won't sync to QuickBooks until that second data load is complete and the data team has turned that on, turned the sync on. You will get a message. You'll actually see it in the Help Center down below here when the data load is complete. And it will just have a message from the data team saying, congratulations, your data has been loaded, the sync has been turned on, and this is the end of onboarding. So it's a little context on exactly what you're going to see on Make the Switch Day and how that relates to your data. Next, let's take a look at your Make the Switch checklist. So let's go back to our Getting Started article, and we'll go ahead and reset our size here. And on this article, the Getting Started article, if you scroll down, it talks about the Help Center. Now, I'm assuming that all of you already know what the Help Center is and have used it, but let's run through it just to see if there is anything you may have missed. A perfect scenario would be, as I'm going through this, you say to yourself, yep, already did that. Yep, already did that. Oh, maybe I need to look at that again. Let me write that down. This doesn't apply to me, so I'm not going to do that. And we're going to go through that checklist together now. To view your checklist, you will go to the Help Center in the bottom right and go to Tasks. And for tasks, you have learning modules here. And you want to go through all of these. If you have QuickBooks, the QuickBooks Sync training will be based on the version of QuickBooks that you have. If you do not have QuickBooks, you will not have a QuickBooks training in here. If your QuickBooks Desktop, you do need to install a sync tool in order for the sync to work. If you have not done that yet and you're about to make the switch, I highly recommend that you do this because you won't be able to sync without it if your QuickBooks Desktop syncing. All you do here is click this link, which will bring you to a scheduler, select a date and time, and then one of our representatives will do a Zoom call with you. They will share their screen and install everything for you and teach you how to use it. But the QuickBooks training, also for QuickBooks Online, there is no sync tool. So if you're syncing to QuickBooks Online, you do not need to worry about the sync tool. We will just use your login credentials to access the cloud and pull the data that we need. This will talk about what sync is, where to go to view your sync statuses for customers, invoices, and payments. If you haven't done this already, I would recommend going to your accounting and taxes page and just make sure that the two-way sync items like your income accounts, liability accounts, classes, tax groups have synced correctly. If your initial data load is complete, then everything up until you signed up will be in your system. And then you can look at making the switch. Do you know when your make the switch date is? Do you know when to stop entering into your previous software? And then have you prepared these things? So you want to double check your settings and users. Have you already added your users? That is crucial. If you haven't added your users yet, they won't be able to log in. So you want to make sure your users are added before make the switch. Are you going to take payment out in the field using the card readers? If you have not ordered those yet, if you make the switch, you don't have the card readers, you won't be able to use them. So clicking order card readers will take you to a page where you can order them. Have you downloaded the app for your team, especially for those running jobs out in the field? If you haven't done that already, click here. And this is just a reminder of where to go and that this is a task to do. So if you have not done that yet, definitely put that on your to-do list before making the switch. That way, your team can log into the mobile app on Make the Switch Day and just start using it. Transfer your appointment. So if you have any appointments, let's say in your previous system, they will not be in your new system and you'll need to build those out. And so this is just a reminder and tip for doing that. And lastly, here is review your data loads. If your initial data load is complete, you will see the bulk of your data in your system. And while we recommend not updating any of that data just yet until after you make the switch, it is good to go look at it. Look at a couple customers, look at a couple invoices, look at some payment history. And if anything looks out of place or, like you have questions about it, now's the time to ask about that. All right, let's go back. Initial setup. This is another great to do on tasks to do in your system. How to add your users with a tutorial video of how to do that. Assigning dispatch groups. Reviewing your admin settings. If you have not been to all of these links, I recommend that you do, because business details allows you to upload your logo so it shows up on invoices and proposals, and just make sure that your business info, your name, your email, your phone number that you want your customers to see on your job forms, that's where you set that. Job types will help you with reporting, so it's good to go there and set up any custom jobs that maybe didn't come as default with the system. Contract terms is where you can customize your legal terms. Maybe you have different contracts that you offer for different services, and you can update those there. Any warranties that you offer, setting your pricing defaults so your price book items are priced correctly when you add them to your invoices. And then price book, just making sure. I mean, that one is pretty huge. You need to charge your customers for the services that you provide. And if you don't have any items in your price book, you can build them manually in the moment, but it is really nice when you already have the pricing set with a name, description, cost, etc. And then when you're done, you can mark this as complete. Then daily to-dos, that will be a reminder of where to go after you've made the switch. and you're creating jobs, you're most likely going to have some follow-ups. Every industry has some type of follow-up sometimes. And this is reminding you where to go to view and manage your flags, view your job report, or your job summary report, and then an article here on how to use flags in the system. And these are personal preference. If you do a lot of estimates, maybe you work with commercial companies where you're bidding for projects and you're really keeping a close eye on your close rate. Proposals report is great for that. So this is just showing you where to go if that is a part of your business that you do. Check your cash flow. This is going to relate to everyone who's making money out there. If you are putting out invoices, you're going to want to know where the receivables report is because that will allow you to see all the receivables in your system. You have some filtered totals. You can select by date range. How much money did we make last month in installs. But then you can also send out payment reminders for any of those that have an unpaid balance. So a really powerful report. And this is just a link reminding you to go here and know what this is. And then if you're offering a maintenance plan program, have you set up your maintenance plan templates? And do you and your team know how to sell those maintenance plans on an invoice? And then the sync hub. This is just a reminder of where you can go to check auto sync statuses. Let's look at an example here. If we go to the invoice list, I'm just going to click on this invoice list link. That brings you out to the invoice list. And let's say that you are creating invoices in your system after you make the switch and the sync has been turned on. These will just automatically sync over to your QuickBooks. But maybe something happens where it's not able to sync. This is where you can go to troubleshoot any type of sync errors that may be happening. So a good use case for this would be come here, go to your auto sync status and choose not ready. That will show any invoices that are not ready, meaning that there's something preventing them from syncing. And then, you'll want to troubleshoot that. We've made troubleshooting very easy here. If you look, well, as a pro tip, any invoice that you create that has no items on it, you actually haven't added anything to those, they will be a not ready status. The system, in order to sync to QuickBooks, does require line items to be added. However, this is not an issue. Maybe you made the invoice, you said I'll set it up later, and you just saved it. Once you open that back up and add items to the invoice, it will just automatically sync and take it out of the not ready status. But this one does have items. We see there's a price here. And I just want to show you a little bit of how you may want to troubleshoot this. This is an action, by the way. This is something that you would do after your sync has been turned on. So I would not touch any of this just yet until your second data load is complete, because the data team uses both loads to kind of piece together the data in a really nice, clean way. And if you come in here and start changing things, that might interrupt their process in loading your data. But after you've made the switch and you are creating new invoices in your system, they will show up here. And when you click details, it will tell you what it wants. So this is saying I need to select a tax group. So when I created this, I did not select one of those. So just update it right here. This says you need a tax group. I selected the tax group and hit save. Now that is ready to go. It's going to be in a ready status until the next sync happens, and then that will sync over and you will see that in your QuickBooks. So that is the invoice list. And let me check my notes here. Okay, let's go back to, so that was daily to-dos. And then learn the basics. This is just, if you haven't played around the system enough, you're not feeling as confident, this is going to show you around the site, how to navigate through the site, how to create appointments. This Office Basics video tutorial is very good. It walks through basically running your business from it's a very basic perspective, creating appointments, running jobs from the office. Then we have mobile app training. If someone on your team is a little uncomfortable and they're letting you know, I don't know, I don't know if I'm ready to use this app yet, send them here. This will take you to our training resources for the mobile app. Payments and insights. Do you know the basics of taking payments in the system, where to find that, and what reports to pull? This is a great video for that. And then finally, we have advanced learning, which if you click on this, continue learning, it takes you to our video courses and webinars page. And this is where you can sign up for future webinars, where you can find courses on any features that you're wanting to use. And then our webinar recordings. Remember, I said we are recording today's session. This is where all of our recordings are located here. Now, just a tip here. If you are syncing to QuickBooks, another really great session to go to, if you haven't already, within our webinar calendar, is the QuickBooks Sync training. Now, today is the 9th, so tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time, we have a live event, so you could come and learn more about your QuickBooks Sync. However, let's say that you are busy during that time. That is where the replays come in handy. Maybe you're super busy until Thursday, but on Thursday you could come in and watch the QuickBooks Sync training replay, and it's literally the entire session up to the Q&A. But that's just a recommendation for my QuickBooks Syncers, just to get a little more context on Sync. Okay, so in theory, if you have been preparing, you may have already finished everything in this list. We just covered it together, and now we both know. Check. I'm ready for all of the things that Mark just talked about. Let's go to, oh, yes. So now let's take some actions together in the system. You may have already completed these tasks. Maybe you haven't, but I'm just going to give you my best practices on adding users, updating dispatch groups, where to go to set up your price book, and where to go to set up your maintenance plans. Those are the most common actions to take in your system before you make the switch. The first one, we will go to settings, user management, users. And to prep for making the switch, you got to add your users so they have their login information and they're ready to go on make the switch day. You'll just want to make sure you click add user to add the user. Fill out the information. The email address and password is what you will give to your other team members. And then set your permissions. Admin has unlimited access to everything. Office has everything admin has. Technically, it could have access to everything, but this gives you a little more options to hide certain things and update certain actions in the system. And then field technicians do not have access to the desktop version of WEX FSM. They can only use the mobile app. But to be honest, that's great. We want our field technicians to just focus on doing jobs in the field, and the mobile app is a streamlined way to do that. Set your permissions and hit save. Once you have all your users added, just make sure that you are sending them their login credentials. And I would recommend having them sign in and make sure that they can click around and maybe even create some test jobs for them in the schedule for them to kind of poke around and look at how the system works before you fully make the switch. So that's adding users. Next is dispatch groups. When you are on the schedule page, If you have, if you're a solo or a two-man crew, maybe you won't really use dispatch groups. But if you have a larger team, I believe, Joe, you said that you have plumbing and HVAC, so you have like separate teams. You are able to organize them into different groups here. And I see Joe asks, do the users enter their personal email or the company generic email? Great question. The email you will set. And actually, let's quickly go back just to give you some context on this. Settings, user management, users. And then, so let's say that I have, like I am kind of spearheading this onboarding process for my company. I know that my field technicians are going to use this. I know that some other people in the office are going to use this. And now I need to enter them into the system and send them their login credentials. I'll click Add User. And then I do get this question a lot. So you're not alone, Joe. A lot of people ask this. The email that you put here is really just the username. So it's completely up to you. I don't want to sway you one way or another what to do, but the email is not necessarily meant for like contacting this user. It's just used for them to log in. Now, the email that you have set here, if you down below here, copies for job forms and receipts for payments. If you want this user to receive emails from the system, you're going to want to put a real email here because if we are, you can set it here, for example. Let's say that anytime a job form is created or a payment is made, I want all admin users to get a notification when those things happen because those are kind of business critical actions. And we need to know when people are creating proposals and invoices and when payments are made. But I only want my admin team to know this. So maybe for your admin team, you're using a real email here. But for your technicians, you can just put, you could even make up a fake email here if you wanted to, uh, or you could make company generic emails if that is better for you. Tech one, at alutra.com. The biggest thing to know here is that the email that you put here is what they will use to log in. You do not have to put an email that you even need them to get a message to, and that can be either their personal email, it could be your company email, it could be a new email that you make specifically for this login. I know some of my customers, they have technicians who some are in, some are out, some are seasonal. And so they just make, generic technician one, technician two, technician three emails and assign those to their different technicians. And then when one goes and another comes in, you just give that email to the new tech and change the password. Joe, let me know if that answered your question for you.
Be like a normal email, like have dot something, or can it just be like a true username?
It has to be in the form of an email. Great question, Sheila. So, like, if you do, tech one as a username, it won't work. It won't accept it. But you could do, tech one at, company name.com, and that will work. Even if company at companyname.com is not a thing you've set up yet, that's okay. Just know that if this is a real email that you've set up, it will send messages. If it's not a real email, it just won't be able to send messages, but it does have to be in the form. The username has to be in the form of an email here. Also, I don't know why I had caps lock on. Cool. And Joe says, yes, thank you. All right, perfect. Moving right along. Let's go back. And we were talking about dispatch groups and your dispatch groups. Make sure that these are set up. Maybe you've already completed this task. Dispatch groups will allow you to group your users in different groups. To set up dispatch groups, you will go to Settings, User Management, Dispatch Groups. Click Add Dispatch Group. Enter the name. Maybe you're going to make one for all users. Highly recommend that. Select all your users and click Save. Then you'll just do that process again. You come in and you'll make another one for techs. You'll make another one for, maybe you make one for the HVAC side of your business and another for the plumbing side of your business. Once you have those made, you'll be able to see those here. Edit and update by clicking the three buttons, edit or delete. And whatever you set here will be reflected on the schedule page in this drop down here. And, I want to see what the office is doing. Now I want to see what my service team is doing, and so on. Next thing to set up. So users and dispatch groups, if you're going to be using the schedule, is essential. So I'm assuming everyone here should be doing this part. When you make the switch and start using WEX FSM as your main system, you don't have to have all the features, every feature you think you would possibly need to use to start. You will probably just want to start with the essentials, the things day one you want to start using. But then this is a process. You can build and add features into your workflow over time. However, if you're going to charge people for services, you're probably going to want to have some price book items set up. If you're offering a maintenance plan, you have a maintenance plan program currently, you already have customers that you're servicing, you'll most likely want to start with a maintenance plan setup in your account. So we're going to go through together where to go to set up your price book and where to go to set up your maintenance plans. For price book, that will be more applications, price book, my price book. This is where you will see your price book folders and items. If you want to add a product, you click add product here. And this is the main place that you will see your folder organization and your products. I'm not going to do a full overview of Pricebook today, but if you are interested in that and you have not set up your Pricebook yet, you can go to the Help Center and then go to video courses and webinars. We do offer Pricebook sessions, so if you want to come to a live session, just look for it on the calendar. But we do have, if you scroll down, build and manage Pricebook, a video tutorial, or you can watch a replay of the Pricebook uh, basics or advanced live sessions. So that is Pricebook. I highly recommend you get some Pricebook items set up for day one. And then maintenance plans. If you have a maintenance plan program, you probably want to add your maintenance plan templates. Go to more applications, maintenance plans. And then here's where you would set up your templates. Same thing, I'm not going to run completely through maintenance plans. Actually, that's what we went over in our morning webinar today. And same thing, if you're interested in learning more about setting up your maintenance plans, you'll go to the Help Center, video courses and webinars. Look for a live session that you can go to here. I think we do have a video course on, yep. We have a video course, which is like step-by-step videos, sell and track maintenance plans, or watch the replay here. But this is where you go to set that up. Maybe you already have these checked off and you're ready to go. Maybe you're going, oh crap, I didn't set up my maintenance plans yet. I need to remember to do that, and you add that to your list. Okay. And so let's now, our final topic before we go into our Q&A is post make the switch to do. So, today is March 9th. Let's say that you're making the switch in the next 2 weeks. Before you make the switch, you've already checked, you've done all your help center training, you've come to a couple live sessions, you've knocked out your to-do list, your team has logged in and is ready to go, your price book is ready so you can start invoicing on day one. All the things we've talked about today, you're ready. You wake up on make the switch day, you start the supplemental data load with that pop-up. You start entering customers' invoices and payments into WEX FSM. Your data load, your second data load gets complete. They turn on the sync, and now that's the end of onboarding. And you will continue forward using WEX FSM as your main software. A couple things that you may want to look into after it's all said and done and you are officially out of onboarding. One would be check to see if there are any unassigned payments. You may run into a payment that during the data transfer process did not get linked to a customer account. It may have, it's going to have the amount, the name, but it won't be attached to a customer. And let's see an example of this. So you're working with your customer, Mary, and you're, scheduling with Mary. We're going to come out and, fix your sink, whatever it is. But you notice this says customer has one payment that is not fully applied to an invoice. And you click on this little yellow thing and you go, what is this? If there is a payment in your QuickBooks that is not connected to an account, maybe this was done in error. As perfect as we would like all of our QuickBooks data to be, sometimes, it's not the cleanest data in the world just from maybe you got hired a couple years ago and the team that was running your QuickBooks beforehand wasn't as organized as you. Whatever the case, sometimes you may run into this. And it's very easy uh, to fix. So this is saying this customer has a payment. We know this payment is for this customer. It just hasn't been applied to an invoice. To apply it to an invoice, you can click the Edit Payment button. It will show you invoices. Oh, first it will show you the payment. So here's just the payment info. They paid with cash on February 23rd for $100. You will click Reassign Payment. It will show you all of their unpaid invoices in the system. And you simply select the invoice, scroll down, and then what we want to say is we no longer want this to be a payment without an invoice. We're going to delete that. And we're going to allow this payment of $100 to apply to this invoice. Now, I'm just doing this as an example. Usually the amount you see here unapplied is the exact amount of the invoice, and then they cancel each other out. If this was made in error, it's an eyesore for you, you're not sure where it is, or you know exactly what it is and you just want to delete it, you can click delete payment here as well. But once you do this and hit save, it will apply this payment to that invoice and then take away the indicator. And now it has a home. So that's something you may run into after you make the switch and you're looking at your data. Another thing you may want to do is merge customers. So if I have someone who in my QuickBooks had two accounts, maybe you entered them at one point as Bob Smith, and then you entered them at another point as Bobby Smith. the system won't really know that that's the same person. It's going to assume it's spelled differently, it's similar, but it's two separate accounts. So in your data load, it's going to load both of those accounts over. Anytime you do a new transition to a new software, that's usually a good time to do some spring cleaning of your data. And the way you can check on this is going to the customers page. So go to customers by clicking that in the main navigation and search for any duplicates that may be happening. Maybe you don't find them right away, but you end up searching up here, like, all right, we need to do a job for Bob. And you type Bob and you see Bob Smith and Bobby Smith with the same address. And you're like, oh, I need to merge these accounts. Go to the customer page. You can even search for who you're looking for. Select both accounts and click merge. Now, there is a specific way to do this. When merging customers, let's think about this. We have two of the same customer account in WEX FSM, which means you would have two of the same customer account in QuickBooks. It says here in yellow, it does remind you, but just so you know, you need to perform this merge in QuickBooks first, because that's the end destination. Merge them in QuickBooks, pick who you want the master to be, and now we have, uh, Bob Smith in QuickBooks. Then in here, oh, look, this says Bobby Jones. All right, let's say we have Bobby Jones as our master in QuickBooks now because we did the merge there first. And then here we would want to select Bobby Jones as the master as well and do this merge second. That way it will merge the accounts. You're not losing any information because it's just going to add any new info from the previous customer into the master. And then when you click merge, now it's a one-to-one comparison. Your WEX FSM customer will have been merged to Bobby Jones, and then it will search for Bobby Jones in QuickBooks, see it there because you did that merge in QuickBooks first, and now that merge has happened. You most likely won't need to do this a lot, but it does happen, especially if loading in from your QuickBooks, you already have duplicate accounts. And then the last tip is be vocal, communicate. If there's any part of the process that you are concerned about, we are here to help. Go to the help center, and especially during this onboarding time and maybe even the first couple weeks, contact support if you have questions. Don't, we would much rather help you than you be silent and frustrated. So, let us know if there is anything that we can help you guys out with. Okay, so that is our session for today. We are going to move to our Q&A now, so get your questions ready. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Onboarding, Getting Ready to Make the Switch.